Everyone tells you to be confident as if it's some magic switch you can flip on. But let me ask you, if confidence was really that simple, why are so many people still stuck, still silent, still scared? Back. The truth is confidence isn't what you think it is. And once you understand what it really takes, back, you'll stop waiting for it and start building it. People often wait for a magical spark of confidence to arrive before they take action, back as if one morning they'll wake up with the perfect amount of belief in themselves. But that moment never truly comes because confidence was never meant to be a feeling you chase. Confidence is the result of evidence, back the accumulation of undeniable proof that you've kept promises to yourself and followed through. Think about the times in your life when you felt most sure of yourself. It wasn't because you wished for it back. It was because you had done the work behind the scenes. Real confidence is not a mood, it's a record. Every action you complete, every task you finish, every challenge you push through stacks like bricks. Over time, back, these bricks build a structure so solid that doubt struggles to find a way in. That's why the strongest confidence doesn't sound loud. It feels quiet and unshakable. It's not hype, it's receipts. The mistake so many people make is confusing energy with confidence. They believe if they shout louder, dress sharper, or fake a smile long enough, it will convince the world, and maybe themselves, that they're confident. But that's surface level, and surface level always cracks under pressure. When life throws unexpected challenges, back. Fake confidence shatters because there's no foundation underneath it. Real confidence doesn't crumble because it's not about how you look or what you project. It's about what you've done and proven repeatedly. Back. If you've put in the hours, if you've practiced until your craft becomes second nature, you don't have to convince anyone, including yourself. Your actions already carry the proof. It back. That's the difference between walking into a room hoping you're good enough versus walking in knowing you've put in the reps to back it up. It's not performance, it's preparation. Back. Think about how athletes train for a big game. They don't show up on game day praying to feel confident. They show up knowing they've done hundreds of drills, studied the plays, and practiced every possible scenario. Back. Their confidence comes from the evidence of their preparation, not from motivational mantras. You can't trick yourself into confidence by repeating words in the mirror if you've done nothing to earn them. Back, words without proof are fragile, but action creates armor. That's why the most confident people are often the quietest ones in the room. They don't need to announce their worth or prove their value back because their work already does that for them. And when the pressure rises, they stay grounded, not because they're fearless, but because they have undeniable evidence to lean on. Confidence, then, back, is the byproduct of discipline meeting consistency. The truth is, everyone has moments where they feel shaky or uncertain. That's normal and it's human. Back. The difference is whether you let that moment of doubt paralyze you or you lean on the evidence you've already built. For example, if you studied all year for an exam, even if you feel nervous, deep down you know you're prepared. But if you procrastinated and left it all to the last minute, no amount of positive thinking can erase that gap. Evidence matters. You cannot cheat it and you cannot fake it. Back. That's why consistency is more powerful than bursts of effort. Every time you show up and do what you said you would, you're quietly building a track record your future self will depend on. Back. And when the day comes where you're put to the test, you'll walk in not with borrowed confidence, but with earned certainty. This is why the small, daily promises you keep to yourself matter so much more than grand declarations. Confidence is not built in one dramatic leap. It's constructed in the quiet, unglamorous consistency of following through. Back. It's in waking up early when you said you would, finishing the workout you didn't feel like doing, showing up prepared to meetings, or sticking to your word when no one's keeping track. These small wins might not look like much in the moment, but they stack. They pile up into a mountain of evidence that whispers to you, you can trust yourself. And that trust is the core of confidence. Without self-trust, you're left chasing external validation, and that will never last. With self-trust, your confidence becomes unshakable because it's rooted in proof you've personally built. Back, we often admire people who seem effortlessly confident, but what we don't see is the mountain of effort they've put in behind the scenes. Confidence isn't about being naturally gifted or born fearless. Take it back, it's about repeatedly doing the work until it becomes part of you. A speaker who looks calm on stage has usually practiced their speech dozens of times in private. A leader who makes decisive choices has made countless smaller decisions that built their judgment muscle over time. What appears effortless is always the result of endless preparation. And because of that preparation, take it back. They don't have to hope for confidence. They simply access the proof they've already created. It's not magic. It's math. More reps equal more evidence, and more evidence equals more confidence. The danger of waiting to feel confident before taking action is that you'll wait forever. Feelings are fleeting. They shift with the day, the environment, or even your mood. But evidence is stable. It doesn't evaporate because of nerves or fear. If you've built it, it's there. Get back. That's why the fastest way to build confidence is to stop waiting for the perfect emotional state and start collecting evidence through small actions. Each completed task becomes a receipt. Back. Each repetition becomes proof. Over time, those receipts add up and become undeniable. You stop asking yourself, can I do this? Because your own track record answers for you. Back. That's when confidence stops being something you chase and starts being something you embody. In the end, confidence is not a matter of personality, charm, or luck. It's a matter of evidence. Back. It's the track record you've built, the discipline you've shown, and the consistency you've maintained. It back. The people who seem most confident aren't special. They've simply built more proof to back up their belief. And that's something anyone can do. If you want to feel unshakable, stop chasing the feeling and start stacking the evidence. Every action you take is a brick. Every promise kept is another layer. Build enough, it back. And one day you'll look around and realize you're standing inside a fortress that nothing can break. That is real confidence, the kind that doesn't depend on hype moods or luck. Back. The kind that lasts because it's earned. Most people sit on the sidelines of their dreams because they are waiting to feel ready. They convince themselves that once they finally feel confident enough, back, they will take the leap, launch the idea, speak up in the meeting, or step into the opportunity. But the truth is, confidence never arrives before action. It only comes after. What you really need in the beginning is courage, that small yet powerful decision to move forward even when fear is screaming in your ear. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's movement despite it. Confidence says, back, I know I can do this. But courage says, I'll try even if I'm not sure. It's the bridge that takes you from hesitation to momentum. Without courage, you stay stuck in endless planning and preparation, back, convincing yourself you'll start tomorrow. With courage, tomorrow becomes today. Think about the very first time you tried anything new. Whether it was riding a bike, giving a presentation, or starting a job, back. You didn't feel confident in that moment. Your hands were shaky, your voice might have trembled, your balance wasn't steady. But you pushed through, and over time, you became more comfortable. Back. That's proof that confidence is earned, not given. It never shows up at the starting line, it waits for you at the finish line. Courage is what gets you moving when everything in your body is screaming to stay still. It's the spark that ignites progress, while confidence is the fire that comes later. Waiting for confidence is like waiting for muscles to appear before lifting weights. You build strength by lifting, back, and you build confidence by doing. The reason courage is so powerful is because it breaks the illusion of perfection. Many people waste years believing they need more preparation, more knowledge, back, or more certainty before they take the leap. But no amount of preparation will remove the discomfort of beginning. The first time is always messy, awkward, and full of mistakes. Courage accepts that truth and moves anyway. Courage whispers, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done. Every imperfect step builds momentum, and momentum is stronger than fear. Once you're in motion, the fear loses its grip. But if you stand still, fear grows louder, convincing you to stay safe. That is why courage is the most essential ingredient for starting anything worthwhile. It back. Courage is often quiet and invisible, not the loud and dramatic version people imagine. It's in the simple act of sending an email that could change your career, is raising your hand when your heart is pounding, back, or showing up to a room where you don't feel like you belong. Those moments may seem small from the outside, but they are massive turning points inside. Each act of courage plants a seed that grows into confidence later. Without those seeds, there is nothing to harvest. People who seem confident today were once terrified beginners. Get back. The only difference is they chose to act with courage long before they felt ready. And because they acted, they earned the confidence you see now. The trap so many fall into is believing fear is a stop sign, back when in reality it's a green light. Fear is the sign you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, and unfamiliar territory is where growth lives. If you only move when you feel safe, you will never expand. Back. Courage is the antidote to fear because it doesn't deny it, it acknowledges it and still moves forward. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't fearless. They've simply trained themselves to act while afraid. Every breakthrough in life begins with a moment of courage. It doesn't matter how small or shaky it looks. It matters that it happens. Once it does, confidence begins to grow from the inside out. Courage teaches you to rely on action instead of emotion. If you depend on feeling confident before moving, you'll be paralyzed because emotions are unpredictable. Back. But courage shifts the focus from, do I feel like it? to am I willing to try? That shift is everything. It allows you to take the first step even while your stomach churns and your mind doubts. Back. And that first step often reveals the truth. The fear in your head is almost always bigger than the reality. By acting, you shrink the fear down to size. You prove to yourself that it wasn't as impossible as you thought. That proof is the foundation of the confidence you'll carry later. The beauty of courage is that it compounds. Every time you act bravely, even in the smallest way, you create evidence that you are capable of handling discomfort. That evidence builds resilience, and resilience builds confidence. Suddenly, the things that once terrified you become manageable, and the things that seemed impossible become possible. Courage stretches your limits so that what once felt overwhelming now feels like routine. This is how growth works. What scares you today will strengthen you tomorrow. But none of that happens if you wait to feel ready. It only happens when you choose courage over comfort again and again. Courage doesn't eliminate mistakes, but it transforms how you see them. Instead of viewing failure as proof you weren't ready, courage reframes it as progress. Every failure becomes feedback. Every setback becomes a lesson. That's how confidence grows. Not from perfection, but from persistence. The more willing you are to step into the unknown, the faster you collect the experiences that build real confidence. People who avoid mistakes in pursuit of feeling ready end up stuck in theory, never tasting the reality of growth. But those who embrace courage gather wisdom, scars, and resilience that no classroom or plan can give. And over time, those scars become the stripes of confidence. The truth is, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled with confidence. It's filled with courage. Confidence will meet you on the other side, but only if you're brave enough to cross. That means speaking before your voice is steady, writing before your ideas feel polished, starting before the plan feels perfect. It's about trading the illusion of certainty for the reality of action. You don't need to know how the whole path will unfold. You just need the courage to take the next step. And once you do, the path begins to reveal itself. That's the secret. Courage lights the way, and confidence follows the light. So many people spend their lives chasing confidence as if it were a prize to be won, constantly asking themselves how they can feel more certain, more powerful, or more secure. They make it their focus, thinking that once they finally feel confident, everything else will fall into place. But the problem with making confidence the goal is that it shifts your attention to emotions rather than results. Emotions are temporary. They rise and fall depending on the day, the environment, or even how much sleep you had. Confidence built on emotion alone is fragile because the moment doubt creeps in, it shatters. Real, lasting confidence doesn't come from pursuing the feeling directly. It sneaks in through the back door as the result of consistent effort and steady progress. The byproduct of growth is always confidence, but only if you stop chasing it directly. When you put confidence on a pedestal, you actually make yourself weaker because you become dependent on how you feel instead of what you're doing. If you only take action when you feel confident, you'll take very little action at all. But when you stop worrying about whether or not you feel confident and instead pour your energy into building skills, your perspective changes. Progress starts to matter more than emotions, and suddenly confidence begins to show up naturally. It's like lifting weights. You don't focus on feeling strong. You focus on lifting consistently, and strength shows up as the result. In the same way, you don't need to think about feeling confident if you are actively improving yourself every day. Skill creates competence, and competence creates confidence. That's the real formula, and it works every time. Think about a musician learning an instrument. In the beginning, there's no confidence, only awkwardness and mistakes. If that musician waited to feel confident before playing, they would never touch the instrument at all. But by focusing on practice, on showing up daily, and improving their technique, something begins to shift. They start to hit the right notes more often, their rhythm becomes steady, and suddenly they feel more comfortable playing. That comfort is confidence, but it wasn't the original target. It was the byproduct of practice. The same applies in every area of life. If you dedicate yourself to mastery instead of chasing a feeling, confidence grows without effort. It doesn't have to be forced because it emerges naturally from competence. The danger of obsessing over confidence is that it keeps you stuck in your head, analyzing instead of acting. You spend hours asking yourself, do I feel ready? Do I feel sure? I feel like I can handle this. Those questions keep you trapped in hesitation. The shift happens when you stop asking whether you feel ready and start asking what skills you can build today. Skills create evidence, and evidence builds trust, and trust produces confidence. That's a chain reaction. If you skip the skills and go straight to chasing feelings, you're left empty-handed. But if you pour yourself into growth, you can't help but feel more grounded over time. Confidence is simply the shadow that follows progress. The truth is, most people don't lack confidence. They lack evidence. They're not short on potential. They're short on proof. That's why focusing on growth is so powerful. It gives you the proof you need. Every step forward, no matter how small, adds to a collection of wins you can lean on when fear rises. And the bigger that collection grows, the less you worry about whether you feel confident, because your track record speaks louder than your doubts. This is why people who are constantly learning, practicing, and refining seem naturally confident. They're not spending time chasing the feeling. They're too busy stacking evidence through growth. And the result of all that evidence is unshakable belief in themselves. When confidence is treated like the destination, people lose sight of the real journey, which is growth. They sign up for courses, read endless books, and repeat affirmations, all hoping for that magical wave of certainty to arrive. But those things don't work without action, because confidence can't be studied into existence. It has to be earned through experience. You don't become confident by wishing or waiting. You become confident by doing and learning along the way. Growth requires mistakes, challenges, and discomfort, and that's the exact path that produces confidence. Ironically, the very process people avoid, the messy, imperfect grind, is the one that builds the confidence they crave. That's why chasing confidence is a trap, while chasing growth is freedom. When you focus on growth, you learn to detach from how you feel in the moment. You understand that doubt, fear, and uncertainty are simply signals that you're stretching yourself. Instead of letting those feelings hold you back, you recognize them as evidence of progress. And when you move forward anyway, you're rewarded with competence that gradually transforms into confidence. This creates a cycle where the more you grow, the more confident you feel, and the more confident you feel, the more you're willing to grow. But it all starts with growth, not confidence. Confidence will never come first. It is always the result of putting yourself through the fire of improvement and coming out stronger. The most grounded people are the ones who understand this principle. They don't wake up every day asking themselves if they feel confident. They wake up asking themselves what actions they can take that will make them stronger, smarter, or more capable. By pouring themselves into growth, they stop being dependent on moods or emotions to take action. Their confidence is rooted in evidence, and evidence doesn't lie. That's why their confidence feels so natural and unforced. It's not an act. It's a reflection of the work they've put in. And because it's built on growth, it lasts even when circumstances change, because their skills and resilience remain intact. The pursuit of confidence as a goal will always leave you empty, because feelings are fickle and fleeting. But the pursuit of growth will always give you something tangible to stand on. When you grow, you create confidence, and confidence generates confidence as its natural outcome. That's why the secret is to stop asking how you can feel confident and start asking how you can improve. What skill can you sharpen today? What habit can you strengthen? What discomfort can you face? Each answer builds another layer of growth. And with it comes confidence that doesn't need to be chased. Confidence isn't the target, it's the trophy you earn along the way. Most people assume confidence is born in the spotlight, under pressure, in those moments where all eyes are on you. They think it's something you suddenly summon when you're called to perform. But the truth is, confidence is not created in those moments, it's revealed. The preparation happens long before anyone else is watching. The late night practice, the countless repetitions, the endless revisions, those are the building blocks. Confidence is a quiet accumulation of work done in private that nobody celebrates. By the time you step into the public arena, what people see is just the result of the hours you invested in silence. Public moments only echo the private preparation that came before. Without the private work, there is no public confidence to display. Think of an artist who steps on stage to perform. The applause and admiration may make it look effortless, but what the audience doesn't see are the lonely hours in the studio, the endless mistakes, the moments of frustration. That is where confidence was built, not under the bright lights. When the artist stands before the crowd, their comfort comes from knowing they've put in the work long before this day. Confidence doesn't magically appear in the spotlight. It's carried there from the practice room. It's easy to admire the outcome, but the real growth happened in the shadows. This is why confidence built in private feels so unshakable in public. It has already been tested and refined through repetition. The mistake people often make is expecting confidence to show up without doing the private work first. They want to shine in the meeting without preparing their ideas. They want to excel in the exam without consistent study. They want to deliver a flawless performance without the grind of practice. But when you skip the private preparation, the public moment exposes you. Confidence can't be faked for long. It either exists because you earned it in private, or it crumbles under pressure. True confidence is a mirror of discipline. Back. It's a reflection of how many times you prepared when no one was watching. That's why those who dedicate themselves to private practice rarely fear public performance. They've already done the hard part behind closed doors. Confidence built in private also teaches resilience, because it's in those solitary hours that you face the most setbacks. Nobody claps when you fail in practice. Nobody cheers when you stumble through mistakes. You learn to get back up, to correct, to refine, back, and to persist. That resilience becomes part of your foundation, and when you finally step out into the world, it shows. People often mistake resilience for natural confidence, but it's actually forged in those unseen battles. Every mistake you fix in private makes you more steady in public. Every failure you overcome in silence makes you stronger under pressure. By the time the spotlight hits, you're not worried about failing because you've already failed hundreds of times alone and survived. The beauty of private preparation is that it strips away the need for external validation. In private, there's no applause, no audience, no recognition. There is only you and the work. This forces you to rely on self-discipline to push yourself without external reward. And that self-discipline is what transforms into genuine confidence. When you know you've done the work even when no one was watching, you carry an inner certainty that can't be shaken by outside opinions. Public approval feels good, but it's not the source of confidence. It's just the reflection of what you already built within yourself. That's why true confidence feels calm and steady. It's not about proving anything to others. It's about knowing the truth of your own preparation. Every public performance, every high stakes moment is simply an opportunity to reveal the level of private work you've put in. This perspective changes how you see the spotlight. Instead of fearing judgment or failure, you see it as the natural extension of your preparation. If you've done the work, the public moment becomes less intimidating because you're not improvising. You're revealing what you've already practiced 100 times. That's the power of private preparation. It transforms the unknown into something familiar, and familiarity breeds calm. Confidence then becomes less about bravado and more about quiet certainty. I trust myself to take it back. It's the peace that comes from knowing you're ready because you've already done the work in the dark. Confidence built in private also separates pretenders from performers. Anyone can talk about what they're going to do. Anyone can look confident for a short time, but when the moment comes, only those who prepared stand strong. The spotlight exposes the truth. That's why the quiet workers, the ones who practice in silence, often outshine the ones who rely on appearances. When the pressure is high, you can't fake preparation. Confidence is not about pretending, it's about proving. And proof comes from practice. If you've done the hours privately, you don't need to pretend, you simply perform. That's why genuine confidence feels effortless. It's not effort, it's evidence. There's also a deep humility in building confidence privately. You learn to respect the process because you've experienced the grind firsthand. You know what it takes to be steady under pressure, and you understand that the applause is only a small fraction of the story. The real story is written in the hours when you could have quit but chose to continue, when you could have stayed comfortable but chose to improve. This humility makes confidence even stronger, because it's not rooted in arrogance. It's rooted in awareness of what it took to stand there. Confidence born this way doesn't seek to dominate others. It simply seeks to demonstrate the result of hard work. It's quiet, steady, and deeply authentic. When you understand that confidence is built in private and proven in public, you stop fearing the spotlight. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to feel ready, because you realize readiness is something you create, not something you're given. You begin to value the hours of unseen effort more than the fleeting moments of recognition. And as you invest in that private work, you find yourself walking into public spaces with a calm assurance that no amount of pressure can shake. That is the kind of confidence that lasts, the kind that doesn't rely on moods, hype, or applause. It's earned in silence, revealed in the open, and it becomes unshakable because it was built on a foundation no one can take away.